Shedeur Sanders. After weeks of whispers, debates, and conspiracy-level speculation over his so-called oblique injury, he's back. And not just jogging back or taking easy reps. No, he comes back like he owns the place. One throw in, and you already feel the shift. It's not just accurate, it's surgical. He steps into the pocket, unfazed, scans, and drops a 30-yard dart into a tight window like he'd been waiting weeks to make that exact statement. You can almost hear the air get sucked out of the facility. Whatever narrative the coaching staff was trying to build about being patient or cautious, it just exploded. And it wasn't just one lucky rep. Oh no, this was a clinic. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Drills? Flawless. 7 on 7S? Dominant. Red zone looks? Too easy. The receivers? Suddenly electric. You think that's a coincidence? Nope. When a quarterback makes everyone better around him, that's not hype. That's leadership. The veterans are watching. Guys like David Njoku, usually reserve, start nodding after every throw. Myles Garrett? Even he's leaning over, giving a rare head tilt that says, okay, this is different. It's not just about arm strength. It's presence, swagger without arrogance, confidence without ego. And trust me, everyone felt it. And yet, what does Kevin Stefanski say afterward? We're evaluating, taking it day by day. Come on, coach. We all saw it. That press conference felt more like someone trying to hold something and then say something real. The words were political, polished, and painfully cautious. It's clear Stefanski is trying to stick to the script, but it's also clear that script is burning up in real time. Because let's be honest, the Browns' quarterback room is a chaotic mess. You've got Joe Flacco, the reliable vet who's already had his moment in the sun. You got Dylan Gabriel, who's talented but looks like he's still figuring out which zip code the end zone is in. Kenny Pickett? His reps are inconsistent at best. And now you've got Shedeur Sanders walking back in and blowing all of them off the field after a so-called injury. How do you explain that? And here's where the drama thickens. Insiders are whispering that Shedeur's injury may not have been as serious as the team made it sound. Some believe it was a strategic delay, a way to manage the pressure, keep expectations in check, and control the timing of his rise. But now that he's back and lighting up practice, the cover story doesn't hold. And here's where things start boiling over, not on the field, but in the building. Because Shedeur's performance didn't just shake the turf. It cracked the foundation of every conversation happening in those glass-walled offices upstairs. The moment he zipped that sideline laser across Njoku's fingertips without breaking a sweat, the debate was no longer hypothetical. It became political. You could feel the tension from the training staff, the assistants, the coordinators, even ownership. Let's be real. The Browns have a quarterback problem, but not the kind you're used to. This isn't about not having a starter. This is about having the guy, the clear, obvious, you would have to be blind not to see it guy, and choosing not to acknowledge it. Why? That's where the whispers start. Some believe Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to lose control of the locker room dynamic. If Shedeur starts, the whole offense pivot around him. New tempo, new style, new leader. That shakes up the roles of the vets. You think Flacco's just going to smile through a demotion? You think Kenny Pickett's camp won't start leaking stories to the media? Shedeur's presence forces every other quarterback into the spotlight, and not in a good way. Others think it's deeper. Some insiders have floated the idea that the Browns didn't expect Shedeur to be this ready. Not so fast, not so polished, and definitely not so marketable. The media frenzy, the highlight clips going viral, the fan pressure, it's throwing off the whole plan. Because the Browns wanted to control the rollout, to drip feed his ascension over the course of the season. But Shedeur's not sticking to the script. He's flipping it. One source close to the team even said the Browns didn't plan to let him peak in August, but Shedeur didn't ask for permission. And that's the part they can't control. Because while other rookies are still trying to memorize playbooks or earn third-team reps, Shedeur's running practice like it's week 12. His reads? Lightning quick. His timing? On another level. He's not just reacting, he's commanding. Meanwhile, his teammates are catching on. You can see it in their body language. When Shedeur enters a huddle, the vibe changes. Linemen perk up. Receivers sharpen their routes. It's not some rah-rah Hollywood moment. It's quiet authority. A guy who looks you in the eye and means it. And behind closed doors, that's becoming a problem for Stefanski. Because the longer he delays a decision, the worse it looks. Fans are already furious online, flooding Brown's posts with demands for Sanders to start. But now, it's not just fans. It's respected analysts, former players, and even local business owners cashing in on hashtag #StartShedeur merch. Every rep Shedeur takes is pressure. Every perfect pass is a PR nightmare for the staff trying to stall him. And the media? Oh, they smell blood. The media, of course, is already circling like sharks. Every major sports outlet has someone on site. ESPN, Bleacher Report. Even TMZ is sniffing around because this isn't just football anymore. It's entertainment, it's politics, it's business. Reporters are now camped out at practice hoping to catch one more clip of Shedeur slinging dimes into triple coverage. Every frame is content. Every play a headline. And every moment Stefanski delays, the storm grows. Even neutral observers can't help but ask, why is the only quarterback on the field showing poise, touch, vision, and leadership still not getting first-team reps? Now let's talk locker room. See, locker rooms are sacred spaces. That's where you see how a team really feels. The veterans aren't going to trash talk in the press. But when Shedeur walks in, the silence shifts. The body language changes. People listen. According to one source close to the team, a quiet divide has begun forming. Not necessarily between players, but between energy. The guys who want to win, they gravitate toward Shedeur. The ones invested in hierarchy or playing it safe, they stay with the current structure. But here's the twist. Even the veterans, guys who've been in the league for years, are starting to lean in. Why? Because Shedeur makes them better. His ball placement gives receivers a shot every time. His presence in the pocket gives linemen a rhythm. His ability to keep a drive alive actually reduces defensive pressure. Players are noticing that every time he's on the field, everything just works better. And don't get it twisted. These players are professionals. They know what winning looks like. And they also know when a coaching staff is gaslighting the media. They can see Stefanski tiptoeing around answers, like he's avoiding a landmine. And the more he dodges, the more obvious it becomes. Shedeur Sanders is being held back, not because he isn't ready, but because the franchise isn't ready for him. Now let's talk ownership. You think Jimmy Haslam and the suits upstairs haven't noticed a dip in preseason ratings when Shedeur wasn't playing? You think they didn't notice the spike in jersey sales after one highlight clip went viral? They know money when they see it. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is printing it. Rumors are swirling that high-level discussions have already taken place behind closed doors. Not about if Shedeur should play, but when. And more importantly, what it means if he doesn't. Because at a certain point, delaying Shedeur's rise isn't a football decision. It's a franchise liability. Every snap you give a Flacco or Gabriel over Sanders is a risk. A risk of fan alienation. A risk of locker room tension. A risk of squandering a generational talent before the season even starts. And the final preseason game? It's the fuse. That game is no longer just a roster check. It's a referendum on Stefanski's judgment, on the Browns' identity, on whether this franchise wants to move forward into the future or stay stuck in the endless loop of quarterback purgatory. All eyes will be on that field, because if Sanders gets meaningful snaps and cooks like everyone expects, it's over. There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. You'll hear the chants from the nosebleeds. Start Shedeur. You'll see the fans in the parking lot selling homemade shirts, wearing gold shades, mimicking his swagger. The momentum is bigger than the Browns now. It's cultural. It's generational. And if Stefanski makes the wrong call, he doesn't just lose a quarterback battle. He loses the city. Cleveland has been burned too many times. False starts, overhyped picks, coaches who promised the moon and gave them mediocrity. But Shedeur, he's something different. He's not asking for attention, he commands it. And more importantly, he delivers. The sad part? This isn't about Stefanski being a bad coach. It's about him being too careful in a league that punishes caution. He's trying to follow the old formula. Ease the rookie in. Protect him. Control the narrative. But what if the narrative doesn't want to be controlled? What if this rookie isn't like the others? Shedeur's not just an arm. He's a brand, a voice, a movement. His social following alone is bigger than half the league's quarterbacks. He knows how to navigate attention. He knows how to lead. And he knows exactly what's at stake. He's seen the doubters. He's heard the whispers. Too confident. Too flashy. Just a name. And yet, every time he steps on the field, he silences them, not with words, but with throws. Clean, confident, clutch. By the time that final preseason whistle blows, one of two things will happen. Either the Browns acknowledge what's obvious to everyone watching and elevate Shedeur to the role he's already earned, or they risk becoming the next franchise haunted by the ghost of what could have been. And the fans? They won't forget. They've waited too long for something real, something electric, something that doesn't feel like another rebuild in disguise. They've seen what Shedeur Sanders can do. Now it's time to see if Cleveland has the guts to let him do it. The ripple effect of Shedeur Sanders' rise isn't just limited to Cleveland anymore. It's reaching front offices across the NFL, and it's starting to make decision-makers sweat. See, Shedeur isn't just competing for a starting job. He's redefining what a rookie quarterback is in the modern era. He's not a raw talent waiting to be shaped by the system. He's already a fully formed brand, an image, a lifestyle, and that scares people. Especially the old-school executives who still believe a quarterback needs to be molded in silence before he's allowed to lead. But Shedeur didn't wait. He didn't ask permission. And now, the power structure's cracking under the weight of what he represents. Let's talk about his media team. While most rookies are just trying to survive camp, Shedeur's already got a production crew documenting his every move. But here's the kicker. It's not for show. It's for control. He doesn't rely on the league to tell his story. He owns his narrative. Every training clip, every post-practice sit-down, every behind-the-scenes moment, it all filters through his lens. And in the NFL, that's revolutionary. Because for decades, the league has operated like a monarchy. You enter humble. You speak when spoken to. You prove yourself through quiet hard work. And then maybe, just maybe, you get the keys to your own image. Shedeur flipped that on day one. He walked in knowing his worth. And more importantly, knowing that fans, especially younger fans, connect with authenticity, not corporate polish. His reach goes beyond press conferences and highlight reels. He's speaking directly to millions in real time on platforms the league still doesn't fully understand. And guess what? It's working. His jersey sales are already breaking records, and he's barely played. His YouTube channel generates more views than the Browns' official page. TikToks of him casually warming up get more engagement than most full game recaps. He's built a machine around himself, and the NFL? It's stuck trying to keep up. Meanwhile, back in Berea, the ripple effects are starting to divide the building. Some coaches love him. They see the edge, the calm under pressure, the quick release, the ability to read a defense in a heartbeat and adjust mid-play. They get that this is what greatness looks like at the seedling stage. Others? Not so much. There's tension brewing between those who want to ride the wave and those clinging to their clipboard philosophies. Some assistants have even started lobbying behind closed doors, pushing for system guys like Gabriel who fit the traditional mold, who don't rock the boat, who stay in line. But here's the thing. Shedeur is the system now. He's not asking to fit in. He's making the team bend around him. And that's exactly why fans are obsessed and coaches are conflicted. The veterans are already choosing sides. David Njoku continues to subtly post cryptic tweets. Real recognize real. Some leaders don't have to say a word. And it doesn't take a genius to read between the lines. Even defensive stalwarts are talking behind the scenes about how different things feel when number 5 takes the field. And then there's a locker room dynamic that nobody wants to say out loud. Jealousy. Because let's be honest, not every player is comfortable watching a rookie with less than 60 professional snaps command more attention, more endorsements, and more fan loyalty than guys who've been grinding in the league for years. That kind of attention shifts the energy. It creates pressure. And in a sport that thrives on hierarchy, it breaks unwritten rules. But Shedeur doesn't care about unwritten rules. He cares about winning. And now that winning feels tied to his presence, the Browns are standing at a dangerous crossroads. Stefanski knows it. Ownership knows it. Even the league office knows it. There have already been quiet conversations at the top levels about managing the media around Shedeur. Translation: they're trying to put a lid on a wildfire with a garden hose. Why? Because what happens in Cleveland doesn't stay in Cleveland. Already, agents of other young quarterbacks are using Shedeur's rising influence as leverage in contract talks. If he keeps this up, he'll set a precedent not just for player branding, but for player power. Rookies demanding first-look content rights. QBs asking for equity in team media ventures. The league's grip on narrative is slipping, and Shedeur's the one loosening it. Meanwhile, analysts are eating this up. Skip Bayless? Obsessed. Ryan Clark? Practically campaigning for Shedeur to start. Even the typically reserved Rich Eisen recently admitted that the Browns might be trying to slow walk a Ferrari into a bicycle race. And the fans? They've chosen. They've started tracking Shedeur's reps during practice, creating spreadsheets, posting side-by-side comparisons. Every throw that doesn't come from his arm is seen as a wasted opportunity. Every snap given to Gabriel or Flacco is an insult. Every delay in the inevitable is an act of sabotage. Which brings us to the moment. Final preseason game. Stefanski is boxed in. He either starts Shedeur and potentially launches the next phase of the franchise, or benches him again and risks an all-out fan mutiny. And the thing is, there's no middle ground anymore. The city has made its choice. The locker room is leaning that way. The NFL is bracing for it. And Shedeur? He's just waiting. Calm. Cool. Watching it all unfold. He knows what's coming. He doesn't need to scream for attention. He doesn't need to beg for the spotlight. It's already on him. The real question is, will the Browns have the guts to follow the light, or will they dim it to keep their old way of thinking intact? Because if they don't choose him now, someone else will. And when they do, this entire league will feel the aftershock. The Shedeur era isn't about what he says. It's about what everyone else can't ignore anymore. And if Cleveland doesn't act fast, they're going to realize too late. You can't bench destiny. Inside the Browns front office, there's a tension that no press release can smooth over. On the surface, everything looks business as usual. Meetings are happening, playbooks are being refined, personnel moves are being discussed. But behind those doors, it's chaos. One exec is reportedly furious. Not because Shedeur Sanders is too flashy, but because they didn't see this coming. They thought they were getting a rookie quarterback with a media following. Instead, they got the epicenter of a cultural shift. A player so influential that his practice clips get more reach than most official NFL social campaigns. And now, Cleveland finds itself at the heart of something it didn't ask for but can no longer ignore. Multiple sources have started to leak stories, anonymous, of course, about meetings where ownership is pressing the coaching staff. Questions like, what would it take to rebuild the offense around Sanders? If we started him now, could we restructure the game plan in 2 weeks? What if we made him the face of the team? And the scariest one, what happens if we don't? Meanwhile, rival teams are circling. Quiet calls have been made. GMs are watching the situation closely, some openly wondering if Cleveland is about to fumble a generational opportunity, and if they do, how quickly they can pounce. Because here's what no one will say on record, but everyone's thinking. If the Browns don't build around Shedeur, someone else will. There are already whispers of future trade value, hypothetical scenarios. What if McVay got his hands on him? Imagine Shedeur with a Shanahan system. He'd be a star overnight in New York. Cleveland's mistake could be someone else's franchise resurrection. But for now, Shedeur is still here. And every minute he's not being treated like QB1 is a countdown to a bigger eruption. And it's not just external pressure. Internally, the locker room dynamics are shifting fast. Players talk, especially young ones. And right now, the whispers in the training room, the weight room, and in the hotel hallways are all about one thing. Why isn't Shedeur starting? The veteran guys with families, mortgages, and only a few more years in the league, they're starting to do the math because they've played this game long enough to know that every season counts. Every quarterback decision changes everything. And if the Browns stick with a guy who's merely good enough while keeping a star and waiting on the bench, that's more than a coaching mistake. That's career sabotage. Wide receivers are quietly hoping Shedeur gets the nod. They've run routes with him in practice. They know his timing, his anticipation, the way he throws open space instead of waiting for guys to be wide open. That's the stuff quarterbacks can't be taught. It's instinct. And Shedeur, he's got it. Then there's the defense. You think guys like Myles Garrett don't want a QB who can actually control the clock, put up points, and take pressure off them? Of course they do. And while they're not about to start a mutiny, make no mistake, they're watching and waiting. Now let's zoom out. This isn't just a Browns issue anymore. It's an NFL issue. Because if Shedeur Sanders succeeds, he becomes a blueprint. And that means players with big platforms, big personalities, and business acumen will start demanding the same freedom. They'll want creative control, media ownership, input in offensive strategy, partnerships, not just contracts. And for a league built on control, that's terrifying. You can already hear the pushback forming. He hasn't proven anything yet. Let's see how he handles real NFL pressure. He needs to earn it. But the problem is, he has earned it, not just with the media hype or his off-field business moves, but with the actual football, the throws, the pocket presence, the leadership in practice. He walks like a starter, talks like a starter, plays like a starter. And every day the Browns delay that reality, they risk losing him, not just physically but mentally, because no competitor wants to feel like they're being held back for political reasons. And here's the dangerous truth. It's starting to look like politics is the reason. Coaches don't want to be overruled. GMs don't want to admit they missed. Veterans don't want to be outshined. But at what cost? This is a part of the story where fans start to get vocal, not just on social media, but in stadiums. Expect signs in the stands. Expect chants. Expect uncomfortable questions during pressers. The media will keep pressing Stefanski. And at some point, the pressure won't just be about Shedeur. It'll be about accountability. What happens if the Browns lose a game they should have won, while Shedeur watches from bench? What happens when fans leave at halftime because they're tired of watching checkdowns and missed opportunities? What happens when Cleveland media outlets start calling this a scandal, not a competition? Because that's where we're headed. And if the Browns think this will blow over, they're dead wrong. Shedeur Sanders isn't going anywhere. Not off the field. Not out of the headlines. Not from the hearts of the fans. He's not just a player. He's the moment. And unless Cleveland wants to become the cautionary tale of the decade, they better wake up, because time is running out. And the rest of the NFL? They're watching and waiting to see if the Browns are about to hand-deliver them the future on a silver platter.